It is officially official as the first crypto executive order was signed by President Donald John Trump yesterday. We have the full breakdown of what went into this crypto executive action, this executive order. What are we going to see from it? What are the implications for Bitcoin? What are the implications for altcoins? And there's a lot of fuss about XRP. I don't know what is going on, but they're being attacked by Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin maxis. Good thing we have two XRP maxis joining us today. As we have two special guests. We have Jake from Digital Ascension Group, the director. We also have Forrest joining us, and of course, my boy Rob over here. And so we got a lot to talk about today. With that being said, let's go. Hola! It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency content, where we take old, boring, stale information, repackage that whole thing up, and we usually put a little barbecue sauce on that smoked platter of meats. That's what we do here, you know. Like, heard that's not the only thing smoking right now.
It was a good one.
Not really sure what you mean there, but
all right.
Happy to be here, bro. You know, I was a little worried about today's show. You know, Forrest, he joins us every Friday, and big XR people. And then we get a call from our friend Jake. He's like, "Hey, I'm in town." I was like, "All right, you want to come join our show?" He's like, "Yeah." And then I was like, "Wait, he's a big XRP bull too." So, I'm gonna try to not keep today's show super XRP focused. All jokes aside, Jake, welcome back. It's the first time in the studio with the new setup, man.
Yeah, this is very nice. This is impressive, guys. We haven't been here in a couple years, so great to see the progress that's been made, and excited to be part of it today. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks for joining us. And Forrest, as always, how you been, man? How's your XRP bags holding up? Good.
They're holding up. I mean, we're right under all-time highs. Okay, looking good.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. We're also going to be doing the drawing live for the winner of the Golden Almanac, who's going to get 1,000 ADA. So I already got everything ready to go. At some point during the show, we're going to do that drawing, and we'll get in contact with you and say, hey, congrats, you won. We'll make sure you confirm your ADA address, and then you'll get your 1,000 Cardano. But I want to start here. Obviously, yesterday, huge day. We've had Ross Ulbricht, getting a full unconditional pardon. And yesterday, at the end of our show, right when we stopped our live show, we saw the first crypto executive order. Something that everyone's like, well, it was supposed to be the first day. It happened. We have the full breakdown. With that being said, let's start with this video. This is David Sachs, the crypto czar for President Donald Trump, pretty much breaking down everything in the executive order. And we'll kind of stop. It's a 6-minute video, but we'll stop at each important point and we'll kind of discuss. So here we go. And then we'll talk about some of the implications and how this is going to help your portfolio. So let's get started.
The man the president says is the man. David, thank you for joining us, first of all. Second of all, is this promises made, promises kept? Because Donald Trump said on July 27th that he would stop federal agencies from targeting the crypto industry. He made good on that promise today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, President Trump campaigned to be the first crypto president. He gave a now famous speech in Nashville where he described how he was going to change the regulatory environment for crypto. And he has now acted on that promise. He signed this executive order today. He's directed our working group to produce a regulatory framework that's going to encourage innovation in crypto in the United States, keeping the industry onshore rather than driving it offshore, which is what was happening under the Biden administration.
I want to get to that framework in just a second. First, the executive order halts what President Trump calls aggressive enforcement actions and overreach. What is he talking about there?
Yeah, well, Edward, for the last 4 years, the Biden administration has basically prosecuted and persecuted crypto companies, really driving them offshore. I've heard so many outrageous stories by founders, by entrepreneurs. The Biden administration would not tell them what the rules of the road were, and they would then get prosecuted. And what the industry wants more than anything else is regulatory clarity. They're saying, just tell us what the rules are, we will abide by them. And the Biden administration would never do that. And because of that, all the innovation was basically moving offshore, and America was about to lose this technology of the future. And we want that innovation happening here in the United States, and I think it now will happen in the United States because President Trump has declared that the U.S. must be the crypto capital of the world.
So
All right. Forrest, I want to go to you first. Okay, so David talked about the burdensome regulations and unfair targeting of crypto. That's going to stop. Crypto companies are going to get, some clear-cut guidelines here. What do you think, what kind of benefit is that going to have besides the obvious, right? And who do you think it benefits the most? Does it benefit projects that are already been around for a while? Does it benefit more like newer projects that are looking to launch? What's your outlook on this part of the executive order?
Mostly benefits projects that have black and white logos and founders who wear suits to work.
What is wrong with
you? Suit coins. Like I like. I think, I mean, I'll rattle off a few like XRP, XLM, like Made in America coins. I think they've been targeted. Algorand has been super targeted by the SEC. XRP has been super targeted by the SEC. Any project that is trying to work with banks or tokenize real world assets, it's been very difficult to be able to do that, especially in the United States. And I think they're the ones that benefit from this deregulation the most.
What are your thoughts, Jake?
Yeah, absolutely. I would just echo what he had there and then kind of follow on with the library case. I mean, there's just been so many examples of the SEC in particular going after crypto companies that were trying to operate the right way and asked them for guidance. And without the clear rules of the road, we work with a lot of people overseas in other jurisdictions, including Switzerland, Dubai, Singapore, and we've seen a lot of people move offshore. Excited about the potential for no capital gains on American-based cryptos. That hasn't been put forth yet, but I think if that is in the pipeline, it would definitely create a lot of people coming back here to the U.S. to launch their token.
I 100% agree with what you said. Look at this. I mean, we're already starting to see kind of the trickle-down effects. So A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz, they're cutting their UK crypto plans to shift focus to the US. And is this a coincidence that one day after the executive order, we see this announcement? I think not. The decision comes after Donald Trump's re-election and his administration's executive order aimed at promoting crypto assets and exploring a national digital asset stockpile. We'll get into that here in a little bit because everyone's up in arms. Trump pissed off the maxis, and it's actually kind of funny. The venture capital firm, which opened its first international office in London in 2023, plans to reduce both investments and operations in the UK, according to two people familiar with discussions. I think we're going to see a lot of money, venture capital money, investment, resources poured into the United States with projects that are already live, with projects that are looking to go live. You take a look at a project like HBAR with their governing council, right? They have 5 or 6 seats open. They have another 7 seats opening up this year. Is this the nudge that maybe a Amazon, maybe an NVIDIA, maybe, I don't know, needs to say, you know what? We'd like to join the governing council. We like what you're doing, Hedera. We like your ecosystem. We like it. So that's kind of where my brain is going. And I agree with what Jake said, the whole made in the USA thing with Trump. If you can imagine an investor, right, a hedge fund who doesn't trade 100, 1,000, 10,000, $100,000, it's millions and sometimes billions of dollars at a time to be able to realize profits without having to pay any taxes on it. So when you have option A and option B, and option A, you don't pay capital gains, option B, you do, 99% of people are going to go with option A. And so that's, again, going to benefit the coins Forrest talked about, XRP, XLM, HBAR, Cardano, Avalanche, Litecoin, Ethereum, Solana. I mean, you name it, Algorand, it's going to benefit those. But I'm going to go back to the video, and David continues, and then we'll get into the national stockpile. And why did Trump decide to use the word crypto and not Bitcoin? Does that mean we're not going to get a strategic Bitcoin reserve and we're going to get a crypto reserve, or are we going to get both? We'll talk about that. But first, back to the video.
So it creates this working group that you will chair. What will you be looking for, and what type of guidelines are you looking to put out?
Yeah, so a few areas. So number one, market structure. We need to define what is a security, what's a commodity, what's a digital asset or collectible. So there's a few different categories here. So defining the market structure is important. Second area is stable coins. I think stable coins are a really interesting area. It gives us the opportunity to extend the dollar's dominance internationally. We can basically create a digital dollar that people all over the world will use. And then the third area that we're going to look at is we're evaluating this national stockpile for digital assets. We haven't created it yet, but we're going to study that issue.
So looking at the stockpile, haven't made the decision to go forward? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Yeah, we're going to evaluate that. We have not decided to do it yet. But we need to study that.
Is crypto?
Okay. Forrest, he didn't say a Bitcoin stockpile. He said a crypto or a digital asset stockpile. What are you thinking here, man? Is it good? Is it bad? Should it only be Bitcoin? The 90-day period or 180 days he's talking about, we're going to evaluate. Does that mean they're going to get lobbied by the likes of, Ripple and Stellar and all the other companies that maybe, want a piece of the stockpile? What are your thoughts on what we saw with the national stockpile?
Yeah, it could go pretty deep on this, and everything at this point is pretty speculative. Like, no, I don't think it should only be Bitcoin. It really just depends on like what your purpose for a Bitcoin or crypto strategic reserve actually is. My prediction is I don't think we're going to get the Cynthia Lummis plan where the United States commits to buying 5% of the Bitcoin supply over a set period of time. I think that's irrational and just kind of dumb, because you're just going to get front run by the rest of the market and the price will go up without you having significant allocation. So you essentially accomplish nothing but pumping Bitcoin, which could be good for the proliferation of stable coins, which is good for the treasuries market. But I think there's a significant possibility that we get other coins in there, particularly made in the US coins. I also think that there's a really interesting angle to be played by Ripple here. They have an advantage that nobody else in the space really has when it comes to lobbying the US to adopt their cryptocurrency, and that is they have an escrow of 40% of the supply. So like, it depends on what your end goal is for the strategic reserve. Like, you see this whole idea of like paying down the national debt with Bitcoin. I think that's really silly because like there's just no way that's going to happen. You're like, if you buy Bitcoin at market prices, there's no marginal buyer coming in behind the United States government that is bigger and can push the price up higher. After you've been DCAing into Bitcoin for years, to accumulate 5% of the supply. But what is interesting is if Brad Garlinghouse or Ripple were to go and give 20-30% of the Ripple or XRP supply to the US government at a zero cost basis in return for them adopting it into the US Treasury and onboarding banks and whatnot. So that would be a pretty bold move. There's some speculation around that. I put it in low probability, but again, like, is Trump going to turn down $50 billion worth of XRP? That would probably go, 10x after they establish it as a reserve currency. I don't know. So yeah, I think Ripple has the advantage here. And but at the end of the day, this is all like super speculative. Like, we don't have I don't know where Trump's mind is at. I don't know where David Sachs' mind is at. I don't know where this team's mind is at, this crypto.
We know where Trump's mind is at, Forrest. His mind's on money. The guy launched the meme coin.
Yeah, he likes a good deal. If you're going to give him $50 billion worth of XRP, and that's potentially 10x's to 500 billion, that's a $500 billion asset on the United States' balance sheet. I mean, why? Getting super speculative here. I don't want to sit here and predict with a high degree of certainty that XRP is going to be like I just think it's interesting that they have a really interesting advantage here in that they have a large portion of the supply that they could give to a government at a zero cost basis or an extremely low cost basis. Whereas if you want to establish a large reserve in Bitcoin, you have to go buy it at market prices, which is obviously good for the Bitcoin's price, but you have no marginal buyer coming in behind you. So what I think is going to happen is we're just going to get a strategic Bitcoin reserve based on an order to not sell the existing Bitcoin that the government owns, and potentially confiscated Bitcoin is what's going to go into that reserve.
The only pushback I'd give to that is, Bitcoin makes sense in there's no issuer of the currency, right? And you talk about Ripple, are they really gonna hand over the entirety of their escrow to the U.S. government? I don't think so. And so what would that mean? That means, well, what if they do 20% and 20%? Well, now you got a company that you can argue would be the most financially powerful company because they have 20% of a token that's part of the U.S. government's reserve. And so I don't know how the optics of that are going to look, but we know the Bitcoin maxes are up in arms. Jake, what are your thoughts on this?
I have a lot of thoughts. I'll just kind of follow on to Forrest. So Greg Kidd was first 10 employees at Ripple, and they met with the Fed in 2014 through his connections there. So they've been talking to the U.S. government for a long time. And to his point, if they had 50 billion XRP, I think it's 47 point something billion that they have. They hold about 5 or 6 billion that they use for their ODL product outside of the escrow. So they could just hand over the whole escrow at a low cost basis, to Forrest's point. And you could actually offset the entire U.S. debt by doing that if they were to start using the token at scale in the manner that we're hoping for. So the supply and demand shock there would drive prices 3-4 digits. We got 36 trillion in debt. That takes a big chunk out of that. And if you had some other tokens in there too, I don't think it'll be just XRP. If it's a strategic reserve, I think you would want to, have some diversification in that. But XLM, HBAR, Algorand, some of these other tokens that are American made, I think make a lot of sense. And if you did want to buy up more Bitcoin and you're the U.S. government, maybe there's an acquisition of that Bitcoin from MicroStrategy or something, right? Something separate of them having to go onto the market. You'd have to find another circumstance like is presented there with Ripple to be able to get that asset before it appreciated, because that's the whole point, right? You're purchasing these assets prior to the appreciation so that on the other side of it, we have more assets on our balance sheet to be able to offset the debt here in the U.S. At least that's the way that I think about it, or why they would be looking to do it. So, and if XRP is adopted as a tier 1 asset in the banking system and it's used globally, the U.S. could remain a very dominant player in that space now that we see the dollar kind of sliding away in that capacity.
Interesting. It'll be interesting. The next 180 days, I expect some lobbying from some of the companies, not just Ripple, but some of the other ones I mentioned, maybe Hedera, maybe Stellar, maybe Cardano. I don't know, but they got 180 days. They're going to look through it. And so it'll be interesting to see which companies come forward and are like, hey, you know what? We would be a pretty good addition to the stockpile reserve because of XYZ. But we know at the end of the day, what they're doing in the direction we're heading in is a positive one. And then just to go back and kind of put a bow on this thing, David continues and some of the other things that are included in this executive order. So let's go back to the video.
Crypto an asset or a currency then?
Well, when you're talking about digital assets, it can be multiple things. I mean, you've got digital assets that are securities, you've got digital assets that are commodities, you've got digital assets that are collectibles like NFTs or meme coins. So, you're talking about a whole vast area of innovation. And so digital assets can be a number of different things. And that's why you need a clear regulatory framework that says, which areas are which. What are the definitions? And that's what founders need. Founders just need clarity around those definitions. They need to know what the rules of the road are so that they can abide by those rules and be confident that if they succeed in the United States, they're not going to get arbitrarily prosecuted.
So how far is the U.S. behind, do you believe, the rest of the world, and how fast will this help catch up?
We're going to catch up really fast. I mean, the innovation was starting to move offshore. There are places like Singapore, even places in Europe that were ahead of us. But now I think it's going to change very fast. Really, if you look at Silicon Valley and the technology industry in general, the U.S. leads in virtually every category, and crypto is one of the few exceptions. And I think that's going to be very, very quickly rectified because of President Trump's executive order today.
I want to get your take on the Trump coin, which started right before he took office. Are you?
All right, we'll stop there. Jake, I know you got to leave soon, but
Yeah.
I'll throw this one to you first.
Okay.
Some people are watching, and it might be their first cycle around, and they're like, wow, oh my God, it's all this bullish news. Why is my portfolio down? What are your thoughts on price action and what we're seeing with these announcements that we're seeing that are like in theory so bullish that people expect news like this in a bull market would move the needle at least, but it's moving the needle in the opposite direction. What are your thoughts on what's happening with price action in the crypto markets? Do you think it's the liquidity hole that Donald Trump created with his meme coin? What do you think it is?
There could be a lot of things at play here. You've seen Tether start to lose some market cap, and that's the primary liquidity provider for the majority of exchanges across crypto as a whole. And so there's almost a direct correlation between when Tether is printed and when it's lost and the direction of the market. So I think that that's the predominant driver of things being down. You can look at news and, there's certain tokens that have seen some significant appreciation this cycle versus other ones. But I do think at some point we will get a rotation into the alt market from Bitcoin. Bitcoin may or may not have topped. I've got people in my camp that are telling me 115 is what they're seeing as the top. There's other people that said, this second market top here before the downturn was it. And now you're going to see the rotation and the Bitcoin dominance is going to fall. There's a lot of constraints around market cycles if you've been here for a while that do repeat over time. The main two factors in this market cycle that I would say are different than previous ones are the ETFs and the regulation that's coming. So the ETFs haven't really allowed the volatility to be the same on Bitcoin on the way up. We normally see like a 30 or 40% drawdown multiple times on the way up for Bitcoin. And there's been enough buying pressure through the ETFs this time that really hasn't occurred. But that also poses a risk as people that are holding the ETF are fair weather traders. They're not diamond hands like people that are buying it on an exchange and moving it to a cold wallet. So it'll be interesting to see if we do see a big move down in Bitcoin, if that's exacerbated by people liquidating their position in the ETF. And that liquidity is going to leave the market. It's not going to make the rotation into altcoins like it would have in the past because you can't move the liquidity from the ETF into altcoins. That only happens on exchanges. So just a lot of different market dynamics this cycle. Excited to see what happens with that. But I do think at some point there is going to be a huge move of liquidity from Bitcoin into some of these other tokens this cycle.
Those are great points. I'm reading a comment from Kenny G. Said, I recognize his voice. That's the voice of a guy who ate 2 45-pound plates this morning. Our community is hilarious. It's interesting you say that, and you brought up some really, really good points. What I think, so right now, yes, right, it's the fair weather traders, people that are, fine with a 20, 30% profit, cool, will sell. But once you start getting sovereign wealth funds and pension funds, they're not traders.
Mm-mm.
They add an asset, and sure, they rebalance their portfolios, but they're not actively buying and selling the ETF every single week or every single month.
That's true.
We've already seen one pension fund, I think the largest pension fund in the world, I think it was in Japan. They came out and I don't know if it was an announcement, they actually bought the ETF, but we're going to see more of that. We've had Larry Fink come out and say, look, I'm talking to sovereign wealth funds and I'm saying, they're asking me 2 or 5%. And this guy, even if it's 2%, you're talking billions of dollars, like multiple hundreds of billions of dollars, as a lot of these sovereign wealth funds are worth trillions. And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And also, don't forget, we have a Solana ETF that's sitting there, an XRP ETF that's sitting there, an HBAR ETF that's sitting there. We have a Doge ETF now that's sitting there. Bitwise just put that in.
Yep.
We're going to see more. You're going to see a basket of crypto ETF, a layer 1 ETF, an AI. So you're going to see a lot of that. And so maybe the liquidity moves on Wall Street that way, right? Where we do it on chain through order books and they do it through their ETF issuer. Yep. Like, hey, I made 30, 40% on Bitcoin. All right, I'm going to take some profits there and I'm going to buy this basket of AI crypto ETF. And so I think you'll start seeing that. But it's not going to happen overnight, and I don't think it's going to happen in the first 2 quarters. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. We need a little bit of legislation. And then we have this as well. This was pretty big news. This is from Hester Peirce. Bye-bye, SOB 121. It has not been fun. Staff Accounting Bulletin 122 is replacing it. And what does that mean? That means banks can now hold Bitcoin and crypto on their balance sheet.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? To me, it means, hey, Forrest, you got $5 million of Bitcoin that you don't want to sell, but you maybe want to get some cash to do other things. Here you go. We'll give you a loan. We'll hold the Bitcoin for you, pay back the loan, and you'll get your Bitcoin back. That's just one thing. Forrest, what are your thoughts on SOB 121 being gone? This article actually says that SOB 121 being gone is actually a bigger boost for Bitcoin than a strategic reserve is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just deregulation. It's like we've been playing the game with, running with ankle weights on, and now the ankle weights are off. I mean, I think you pretty much summed it up. But yeah, it just is going to allow banks to custody crypto, and that's super, super bullish. And really is why I truly think that this is mostly going to benefit in a big way the suit coins and the coins that are trying to be regulatorily compliant and work with banks, and whether that's XRP trying to be a global liquidity asset or trying to tokenize stocks and be able to tokenize assets, real world assets on the blockchain. I think this just opens the door for rapid growth. And I think you summed it up really well.
Awesome. Hi, Robin.
What's up, bro? So with the SOB thing, the big thing here is that banks can simply just custody clients' crypto, and so it's opening up a service they originally didn't have, right? Or at least hasn't had up until this point. And so for me, I just think like, hey man, you know what? We're gonna get banks custodying your checking account, your crypto account. I know you mentioned you can borrow on it, but previously with the SOB 121 bill, all crypto that was held by a bank was essentially an asset, and you had to have a liability for it and write it down if it drew down, right? And so now it's the same as holding stocks and cash. You're just holding customer funds. That's how an accounting kind of plays out for that. So it's going to be very interesting. I think you're going to start seeing commercials. When do you think the first commercial is going to come out? Bank of America or JP Morgan Chase or whatever bank it is going to be like, hey, we'll custody your crypto for you. Go ahead and take loans out on it, things of that nature. So.
And think of it this way, right? Think of it from a retail standpoint. We talk about the average American, the average person, just globally, really has really been beat down with prices and inflation and debt. I mean, I saw something on X this morning. The car notes, the delinquency rate is skyrocketing. People that have been late 45, 60 days or more, it's over 10%. And so people are struggling. And what are some like long tail effects? You think about, yes, you can borrow money, but imagine the other effects too, right? If the bank knows you have $100,000 or $50,000 in Bitcoin that you really weren't able to add to your net worth, at least when you're getting loans or getting approvals, now you can. So now maybe it opens up other avenues. Maybe your credit card limits get increased. Maybe your credit score goes up. Maybe your buying power gets stronger. There's so many things that could have a positive effect on the average retail person. Now, you're going to get the people that say, hell no, I'm not giving over my Bitcoin to the banks. That's totally fine as well. There's other protocols for you to be able to leverage your Bitcoin. But I'd be careful, because what we're going to talk about today is a decentralized protocol that is insolvent, and that is Thorchain. How does a decentralized protocol go insolvent? And are people going to lose their Bitcoin? We're going to talk about that here in a second. But this is a net positive, I think, and it's only, and the banks know how much money is in this space, and it's going to be a no-brainer. And so with that being said, This is a 2-minute clip of Morgan Stanley, or 1-minute clip of Morgan Stanley CEO Ted Pick talking about the bank, talking about how they are working with the Treasury and other regulators. Listen to this.
Management business, E-Trade obviously is a big part of that. So you got the retail side of it. What do you make of crypto under Trump, this Trump administration, what may happen and what that speaks? I mean, we're talking about meme coins. I don't know if you're following the Trump coin or the Melania coin and what that's.
This dude asked Morgan Stanley about meme coins. All right, it's funny.
Says about what's happening here.
Well, I think there is liquidity, and the liquidity, expresses itself in all kinds of different ways. I think the broader question is whether some of this has come of age, whether it's hit escape velocity, and time is the friend. The longer it trades, and perception becomes reality. For us, the equation is really around whether we as a highly regulated financial institution can act as transactors, sort of follow the money. And there we'll be working with Treasury and the other regulators to sort of figure out how we can offer that in a safe way.
I'm telling you, man, I just want to share a post that I put yesterday. Screw the current prices. I know everyone's like, well, why isn't the price going up and what's going on? The president just signed the most bullish executive order ever that'll set the tone for the next 4 years. And I want people to just a reminder, the conversations we were all having, not just in our community, but the crypto community as a whole, about, oh my God, I can't wait till Biden's out and Gary Gensler's gone. It's going to be so much better and yada, yada, yada. And well, here we are. The day is here, right? The day is here. The day is officially here. And so I don't understand how you were bullish then, but you're not bullish now. Sometimes you just got to zoom out a little bit, zoom out of the day-to-day, hour-to-hour price action and really just focus on, okay, what is this thing going to look like 6 months from now, 12 months from now? One story, and just to prove that point, that the Trump meme coin, the original one, okay? Forrest, you've talked about getting in that thing at 2 cents. How long did you have to sit on that thing for at 2 cents and it did nothing until it really started going up and it really became a real big financial gain for you? It was a while, right?
Yeah. I bought it at like 8 cents and I had to write it down to like 1 cent. So I wrote it down like 80-90%, almost sold just for a loss to recoup, but ended up holding on because I figured, well, it's early still. So it took like a year for it to come together. Really took probably like 5-6 months for it to bottom out and to start to show some life and get back into profit.
This is going to sound like a really, really basic, dumb question, but was it worth it holding it with your thesis in play and knowing what was coming? Was it worth it?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's super profitable trade.
Obviously it was worth it. So what I'm trying to say is there's a thesis here and we're looking forward. Okay, he just got in office. This is what he's already done. And it's his second or third day in office. And so I don't understand how anyone could be bearish. Sure, short-term price action, we talk about short in the markets, long in the markets, great. But when you talk about creating wealth for yourself, for your family, your portfolios, got to have a little patience, man. Got to have a little patience. Things are falling into place. And although you might not see it directly reflected in the price today, talk to me in 6 months. Talk to me in a year. And if you don't have the patience to wait that long to really change your life financially, then I'm sorry, but you don't deserve it. Like, you want something real quick, you're going to get scammed. You're going to lose your money. Good things take time. And so that's the only thing I'll advise people. We have Ashley, nice of you to join us today. How you doing?
Hey, I'm here.
I saw you kick Jake out. That was kind of rude.
I did. Picked him up and threw him.
Definitely didn't pick him up. He probably weighs 3 times.
I don't think I can pick him up.
There. He's heading out. Thanks for joining us, bro.
Also, Rocco, do you mind holding up what we just got in the mail today? So we're excited. Let me tell you something. The guys at Tangem, these guys are amazing. We officially have our very own Sin City Crypto Tangem card.
Let me see if I can get it out.
And so Rocco's he's fixing the camera. He's gonna put it up now. But this is gonna be it's gonna be available to Patreon members. And you guys are going to get a discount that no one else on the market gets, a 25% discount to get this. If you'd like to, Tangem is, in my opinion, the best user experience when it comes to wallets, period. All my large swaps I've done has been through the Tangem app. And so big thank you to Tangem. And then we'll post that when it's live. We'll post it to the Patreon members. And you guys, if you want to order one, you get 25% off. And so shout out to them. Also, in about 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to do the drawing for the Golden Almanac. If you're one of the first 100 orders, you have a chance to win 1,000 ADA, which is currently worth $1,000. But we know Cardano getting the $7 to $10 could be worth $7,000 to $10,000. So we're excited for that. With that being said,
We got any new names up in here?
We got new names. We got Stephen Burton, Gertie, Kyra, Maddie, Ali, Great Man, Brady, Freedom of Crypto, Ahmed, D-Worm, and Miguel. Yeehaw.
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 Forrest, so we have something going on here. We have Ola Man and Yeehaw Girl. If we were to axe one of them, which one should we axe? The Yeehaw or the Ola?
Axe.
Like get rid of?
Well, that's just rude.
I'm just wanting an opinion.
Why?
What do you mean why? Anyways, Forrest.
Okay.
You guys in
Who are you getting rid of?
Yeah, I say keep them both. Keep them both.
There we go.
People right there.
Forrest,
End of the-
Forrest, if you ever run for office, I'll vote for you. All right, let's take a peek at the markets really quick, and then we'll dive into, we'll do the giveaway, and then we'll dive into Thorchain. Because what's happening there is, I don't know if the right word is interesting or scary, okay? Let's take a look at the markets here. BTC at $105,900. Forrest, I want to tie this in as well. And if you want to pull up a Bitcoin chart, but I saw you posted this yesterday, and I've been following this as well, right? Bank of Japan, they officially hiked rates 25 basis points, although Bitcoin is holding steady. Now, I would like to remind people, Bank of Japan did this back in March of last year. They took it from negative to zero. Markets did fine. Then on July 31st, they raised it 25 basis points. That was on a Wednesday. On that day, Bitcoin went down 2.5%, went into the weekend fine, and then that Monday was Black Monday 2.0, where we saw the Japanese Nikkei index fall 6,000 points in minutes or an hour. Then the Dow fell, NASDAQ fell. Bitcoin drew down 16.5% in like 2 or 3 hours. It was a catastrophic day for the markets. Then because of the unwinding of the yen carry trade, right? We're not going to get into the specifics of that. But Bank of Japan, they panicked, like, all right, okay, fine, we'll fix it. And then everything bounced back. Yesterday, they raised the rates again, 25 basis points. This time it happened on a Thursday evening, Friday morning for Japan. Are you at all worried, Forrest? Or is there anything on the Bitcoin chart structure-wise that's telling you, is Monday going to be something similar to what we saw back in August of last year? Or what are your thoughts here tying in this whole Bank of Japan thing with taking a look at Bitcoin chart?
No, it looks fine right now. I think we just seen a harsher reaction for it already. Bitcoin's up today. Gold is up today. Silver's up today. And then more importantly, if I can find, am I not sharing my screen yet? Yeah, let me share my screen. No, there we go. If I can find it, DXY is printing this nice head and shoulders. So let's see here. Boom. All right, yeah. So the dollar DXY head and shoulders, targets all the way down here like 105 or so. This is generally good for Bitcoin. It's generally good for gold and silver, just and risk assets in general. So if we go back to Bitcoin, Bitcoin's just in a range, but it is moving towards the top of its range pretty aggressively. Like this is a strong chart. This is looking good. So like I said, I think last week, Bitcoin's just in a range until further notice. We deviated from the bottom side of the range. Market makers came in, they scooped up a bunch of Bitcoin, and they just turn around and sell it towards the top, the middle of the range and the top of the range. So I think they've probably distributed quite a bit. The ask in the order books is lightening up a little bit. If we go over to like high block here, you can see this red ask here. I think we hit this yesterday. Yeah, 22nd of 2 days ago. So there was a pretty big ask here, sell off, and then we've actually, after the reserve news or strategic digital asset stockpile, news, we've actually put in 2 more higher lows. So we are actually jamming up into this ask, and it's starting to diminish a little bit as we go higher, which is generally a good sign. What we really don't want to see from just a charting perspective is you don't want to see a retest, another retest of this midpoint, which we've already retested, but you don't want to see us lose these higher lows, go down and test this. And then if we lose the midpoint, you're probably going to retest 90K or so. It's really not an ideal situation after you've already gotten the flush that you want. And we are looking at a pretty bullish pattern here. Symmetric triangle, a little bit choppy of one because of like the news related, stuff on the inauguration. But overall, we just have higher lows pushing up into our all-time high, which is just very good. Targets on a pattern like this, if you're on a log chart, you can just kind of extend this to like 122,000. I know a lot of people have targets at like 118, 115 or so. So I do think that Bitcoin's very, very likely to leg up. Your warning sign for if this pattern is going to fail is if we lose the midpoint. So if we go back down below 100K, you're probably going to see some panic, some capitulation. Market makers will probably step back in at the bottom of the range. Maybe we get a flush below, whatever. And then we set up for another move higher. We lose the bottom of the range and spend a lot of time out of here. That's your sign that something is wrong in the market. I don't get worried about this market until we just start hanging out below 90K. And that'd be rough for alts, it'd be rough for Bitcoin. Then we're probably, something's wrong, something's breaking. But as of right now, we're just sitting in this range. We are consolidating below all-time high in a ascending triangle or symmetric triangle pattern. I would say this is just a generally bullish setup to push to 115 to 120. That's my take.
Awesome. Rob, any thoughts on the price action for Bitcoin and what you expect to see?
I was just a little excited that we got over 106 briefly. I know we're trading underneath that at the moment, but if you look at you look at the 106 mark, it's something that's been at least pretty pivotal in this last few days. And so you see that just this week alone, we traded above 106 for just 3 days, briefly for hours at a time. And you look back at the month, you also the same thing is kind of validated. So for me, once we get above 106, and then that's kind of like the all-time high. So, I mean, it makes sense. I know we briefly were at 108 earlier, but, if we want to take this next leg up on Bitcoin, I think you got to really just get above 106 and hang out there for more than 5 hours, because I think that's kind of what we've seen so far. 5 to 6 hours here, 2 to 3 hours, 30 minutes and 30 minutes. You get what I'm saying? So let's get above 106, trade above it for a full day, and then I think at that point, I'm pretty set on seeing that 110 or 115,000 on Bitcoin. So.
Awesome. All right, let's do this. So I spoke with the team at LBLCS this morning. Magazines are shipping this weekend. Your email you provided when you put the order in, you will get an email with a tracking number. Also, as promised, out of the first 100 orders, now I do want to mention there's a few people that ordered more than one. So, for example, Jimmy ordered 10 of them. He's got 10 slots on the wheel. And some of you ordered 3, some of you ordered 2. So there's a total entry of 100. So this goes up to order number 81. And I got it randomized here. We're going to do it live on the show, okay? So if you want to pull up the laptop here, okay? Once I draw this, we will announce what order number, and then we will, after the show, I will email you because I have your email, and I will just ask you to confirm what your ADA wallet address is, and then we'll send you your 1,000 ADA. So, do we have drum roll?
There's no drum roll.
No.
No drum roll? Okay. All right. Ready?
Yay.
Okay. Here we go. Who will win? 1,000 Cardano.
Goes to
It is order number 7. Order number 7. You win 1,000 Cardano. So shout out to you. I'll be reaching out to you via email. And so, yeah, there we go.
Lucky number 7. I mean,
Congrats.
it's no surprise here.
Congrats to you guys, and thank you all for your support and patience. We appreciate all of you. You guys are going to absolutely love the product when you get it in your hand. It'll be well worth the wait. That I can guarantee you. All right. With that being said, I'm looking at the rest of the markets here. Did you want to look at the rest of the markets, or you want me to do it?
Go ahead and take a peek. I was sending some emails here.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the rest of the markets. We talked about Bitcoin, obviously. You know, ETH started moving. I actually had a limit order on ETH at like 32.70, something like that, and it didn't hit. It didn't go down and get to that level I wanted it to get to. But 33.68 is ETH about to move. It is up 5.25% on the 24-hour. Solana is up 5.78%. Cardano is sitting right under $1 before us. A lot of people shipping it on ETH, including my co-host next to me. What is the ETH chart looking like, and what's your thesis on Ethereum?
Yeah, I'm long Ethereum right now. I think if ETH Bitcoin's probably bottomed, which I know everyone's been saying for a very long time. Here's the ETH Bitcoin chart, right? This is just full on capitulation. So, couple of things just from a sentiment perspective. ETH, like even like long-term ETH holders have finally like started to capitulate, which is generally going to be somewhat of a bottom signal. Look at the 3-day. I mean, we've got some bullish divergence on ETH versus Bitcoin. The daily, we definitely have some, multiple, quadruple bullish divergence on ETH Bitcoin, which is generally a bullish sign. So once this pops out of its range here, downwards channel, it should start moving pretty aggressively to the upside. I think the overall ETH chart is actually one of the more bullish charts that I see at the moment.
You hear that, Robin? You hear that, Robin? Just kidding. Good.
Yeah, and I still think I'm not like necessarily super spot long ETH, right? Like I'm predominantly in XRP. I think XRP still outperforms, but I actually think ETH has a really nice setup here. You've got this kind of descending wedge creating your right side of your inverse head and shoulders. Maybe there's another shakeout or two. I don't know, but I think this is going to start moving upwards. One of the main reasons I think the ETH Bitcoin ratio is actually bottomed is because the executive order yesterday did not explicitly say Bitcoin strategic reserve, and it left room open for altcoins, which I think has been weighing very heavily. The expectation or the possibility of it being Bitcoin only has been weighing very heavily on altcoins and has been very in favor of Bitcoin. How do you outperform Bitcoin if the United States government is going to be buying Bitcoin? Now, not only does it not look like the United States government is going to be like just averaging into Bitcoin anytime soon or buying Bitcoin on the open market anytime soon, there's a possibility that they are potentially going to include altcoins. And you've also got the Trump family just buying alts at this point in time as well, buying ETH, buying AAVE, buying Tron, buying a lot of ETH-based alts too, like Chainlink as well. So I think not only do you just have a phenomenally bullish chart set up with this inverse head and shoulders forming with this wedge here, targets 6 to 8K. You've got David Sachs I mean, like I know he's a Solana investor, but he's also an investor in DYDX. I mean, he's kind of all over ETH too. So I just really think that this is finally setting up for ETH to make a run. Even if it doesn't outperform Bitcoin and Bitcoin starts running super hard and breaking through all-time high, I think that ETH will probably follow and you'll be fine sitting in ETH as well. So I'm long ETH. I'm also I think the Solana chart looks great. I think the XRP chart looks great. I'm actually fully expecting an alt season relatively soon, hopefully in the next couple of weeks here, but we shall see. I think most alt charts right now, as far as majors go, look really, really good.
Awesome. Big news here, guys. President Trump officially is unbanning menthol cigarettes. So shout out to all you Newport smokers. Big shout out. What are your thoughts here, Robin? Any analysis you want to give on this one? No? Yeah. Robin doesn't seem excited. All right. Let's talk about what is going on with decentralized finance. What is specifically going on with Thorchain? Okay. Thorchain pauses lending savings, but 200 million restructure is no big deal. That's what the founder said. So, decentralized cross-chain liquidity protocol Thorchain has paused its lending and saving services after the community raised concerns about the project's solvency. Thorchain community member TCB pointed to total liabilities of around 200 million, which was only backed by 107 million of non-locked liquidity. The thread explains how the system relies on minting the project's token, RUNE, and has been compared to Terra's UST and Luna. Interesting. He also added that the system had become so complicated that only a handful of people fully understand how the leverage feature and liquidity works with each other and affects the underlying asset. Conscious of the danger of a bank run, Thorchain's founder, JP, recommended pausing the two features to avoid a potential death spiral as depositors raced for the exit. Here is Mr. JP. I'm going to zoom in here if I can. There we go. All right. If RUNE hits $2.50, I would be recommending to every node I delegate with to pause lending via node Mimir. Pause lending, tokenize positions on the app layer ASAP, 10% system income into payback fund to accumulate RUNE to fund payouts and re-enable lending. Simple, we can get it done in 2 to 3 months. All loans will be honored with a sensible throttle. If you want out whilst it is paused, you can sell your entire position on the app layer. You know it's the right thing to do. Forrest, what are your, how does a decentralized protocol go insolvent? What are your thoughts here, Forrest?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't understand RUNE at a deep level. The overview I read was somewhat similar in that it described there's some sort of minting mechanism whenever a loan is taken out. So as more loans were taken out, more RUNE was minted, which is obviously not ideal. But I've never used RUNE. RUNE has been so up and down over the years where they got hacked and exploited, and then they popped back, and then they got hacked again, I think a second time. Now this. Yeah, I don't use it. I don't recommend using any complicated lending apps. I think AAVE and some of the ones on Solana are probably fine. There's obviously risk there as compared to just self-custodying your money. But yeah, I mean, anything that's going to be dependent upon the governance token for liquidity or for securing loans is not ideal. You want very straightforward, over-collateralized loans on assets that you trust, such as ETH or USDC or stablecoins, which AAVE provides. But I wouldn't mess around with anything else.
Rob, what are your thoughts here, man? I mean, if we can't even trust a decentralized protocol, do we need the banks?
I mean, code is law, but if code isn't written right, then the law is broken, right? And so there's mathematics you can't change those, right? Or it is what it is. 2 + 2 is exactly that. And when it comes to writing code for decentralized applications, if there's an exploit, an error, if there's, if it's not written to its, how it's supposed to be, then we're going to see things like this. And we know that nobody's perfect and no application is going to be perfect either. I mean, Bitcoin had its day in issues in the early days, and it had 3 setbacks. Had a minting issue where they had minted like 1 million Bitcoin that quickly got reversed. But I mean, nothing is free of, faults. And so hopefully that when these things happen, the faults are minute or they get caught before they're exploited. But it just be safe out there. I mean, nothing is a surefire bet, no matter how big of a fan of a project you are.
Yeah, look at Luna.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I just got confirmation. The winner is Jimmy. The winner was Jimmy, but remember, he bought 10 of them.
Wow.
And because Jimmy won and he won 10, I'm gonna spin the wheel again, and I'm gonna give away another 250 Cardano.
Woo!
A random person.
Yay.
All right. So let's spin it one more time.
Hold on, let me.
And if it lands on 7 again, I will spin it again. But Jimmy, congrats, my friend. Thank you for all your support. He bought 10 magazines, so love that. All right, so this next one, I just, on the fly, giving away another 250 ADA. And so let's see if we can get someone else. Order number 31. Okay.
31.
I'll be reaching out to you via email. Congratulations. I don't remember who this is, but I'll have to check. Now, I do have an entire spreadsheet, but obviously it's got people's emails and names on it. I'm not going to share it here. But we'll email you, and I'll ask you to verify your ADA address. That's all I'll ask you to do. It'll come from my business email, david@sincitycrypto.io. And so shout out to you guys. And again, thank you to everyone who supported us through this venture. This is the first time we ever did a book or a magazine. And so it was a great learning process. It was fun. It was tedious. And so we just want to say to all of you that ordered one, we truly appreciate you. Now that we know shipping is happening this weekend, if you want to order one, we did enable a buy with crypto function. So if you don't want to use fiat, you can use up to 300 different cryptocurrencies. And that link is in the description of this live show. So shout out to you guys. Also, Patreon members, check your alpha. During the show, I got some intel, so I shared that with you guys. Make sure to go check that out. If you want to join the Patreon, we're actually, good news, we're 17 away now. We got another member yesterday. 17 away until Ashley's channel unlocks. And no, it's not an OnlyFans channel, guys. Jesus Christ. It's going to be fun. It's going to be educational. And it's also going to unlock weekly giveaways to where you can honestly just get the $50 back that you spend per month and still get all the great info. So shout out to Ashley for that. So, yeah. Rocco, do you want to prompt the Patreon?
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. Also, big thank you to our channel sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by CAMS Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how CAMS can help your business scale and grow and maximize your networking, IT, and cybersecurity, visit bluewiretech.com or click the link in the description of this video. With that being said, ICP fans and fam. I sat down with Kyle this morning, did a 15-minute video on everything happening. We talked about caffeine, talked about AI agents, talked about a lot of things. And so I think it's important to give the ICP community an update on what's happening behind the scenes and not just focusing strictly on price. So that video is going to drop today. Also, we had a couple super chats. Nathan said he was trying to say that number 7 was not straight. So Nathan, we'll take your money. Also, Nathan again said, also, Jimmy, you are not straight. I can confirm Jimmy is straight unless he has weekend activities that I'm not aware of.
Ooh.
But he does have children and he has a girlfriend. So.
I do have new people. John 316, Tony McRae, Blue Man, Top 10, Stephen K. And then we got people on Rumble.
Rumble.
Editor, Mike Starr. And these are words I can't say. So
okay, fair enough.
Anyways,
Thanks,
yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Forrest, any parting words as we head into the weekend, my friend?
No, just fingers crossed for an alt season here. I like all the charts are looking really solid. Doesn't mean they can't break down. Doesn't mean there's nothing's guaranteed. But XRP, Solana, Ethereum all look really, really solid here, ready for breakouts. I was looking at some sample data. And on almost any sample size, XRP's best day of the week is Saturday. So that doesn't mean that tomorrow is going to be an XRP pumping day, but it's getting exciting. So
sounds like what you're saying, Forrest. That's literally sounds like what you said.
Most likely.
I hope we get some good charts and some good breakouts tomorrow and maybe into Sunday and Monday. So fingers crossed. Nothing's guaranteed.
Rocco approves.
I approve.
Rocco approves.
Guarantee.
All right. Forrest, thank you again for joining us. Always a pleasure having you on, my friend. It's crazy to think you were joining us when we were sub 1,000 subs, and we're approaching 100K. We're at almost at 91,000 subscribers. So love having you on, man. You've become more than just a colleague. You're a friend, and so we really appreciate you, all your insight. And so thank you so much, and thank you all of you watching. With that being said, Rocco, we lost Robin. Hope he's okay. We're going to check on him after this. Struggling a little bit. Thank you all, guys, so much. Really appreciate you. We love you. Have an amazing weekend. We will see you on Monday.
Crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya, to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.